At the Cole family dinner in the private dining room of Cole Grand Hotel, my brother declared, "We're selling the hotel for $155 million. I'm Hadley Cole, 32, parked at the far end in my plain black dress." No one glanced over. My brother live-streamed every word. My sister bragged about her next event booked in the ballroom. My parents beamed, calling it their legacy. I leaned forward. "Who signed the contract?" My parents answered together. "Vertex Hospitality." I smiled. "I own Vertex Hospitality." The entire room froze. If you want the full family meltdown and who ends up on top, smash like, subscribe, and comment your state below. The clinking of silverware died instantly. Rhett Cole's wine glass trembled in his grip, red liquid sloshing close to the rim. Juniper Cole's fork hung mid-air, a piece of steak dangling from the prongs. Rhett set the glass down hard, eyes locked on me. "You own Vertex, prove it." Juniper dropped her fork with a clatter. "Our maid sister, the one who folded towels for tips?" "Come on." Aunt Rosemary Cole leaned forward from her seat near Mom. "Hadley scrubbed toilets at 14 while you two blew allowances on Vegas weekends. She earned every penny." Dad stayed silent, jaw tight. Mom pressed a napkin to her lips, face draining of color. Rhett pushed back his chair. "This is a joke. Vertex is some big-shot chain. You're the family ghost." I didn't flinch. Ghosts don't sign 8-figure deals. Juniper crossed her arms. "Then show us." "Right now." Aunt Rosemary nodded at me. "Go on, Hadley. They need to see." Dad finally spoke, voice low. "Hadley, if this is true..." Mom cut in, whisper sharp. "It can't be." Rhett laughed, but it cracked. "Yeah, prove it or shut up." I held his stare. "You want proof? Fine." Juniper rolled her eyes. "Here we go. Another story about your side hustle." Aunt Rosemary shot her a look. "That side hustle paid for your first event booth, Juniper. Remember who fronted the deposit?" Juniper's mouth snapped shut. Dad rubbed his temples. "Enough." "Hadley, say what you mean." Mom echoed. "Please." Rhett leaned in. "Spit it out." I let the quiet stretch. "Vertex isn't buying the hotel. Vertex already owns the option." Juniper gasped. "Option?" Aunt Rosemary smiled small. "Smart girl. Always 3 steps ahead." Dad's eyes narrowed. "What option?" Rhett waved a hand. "She's bluffing." "No way." Mom clutched Dad's arm. "Norman." I continued. 6 months of due diligence, full access to books, occupancy rates, everything." Juniper paled. "You went through our files." Aunt Rosemary chuckled. "Someone had to check the numbers. You two never did." Rhett stood fully now. "This changes nothing." "The sale goes through." Dad raised a hand. "Sit down, son." Mom whispered. "Hadley." I ignored the pleas. "The sale happens on my terms." Juniper sneered. "Your terms. You clean rooms, not run them." Aunt Rosemary's voice cut sharp. "She runs 11 properties. Profit margins you couldn't dream of." Rhett's face twisted. 11 bull," Dad demanded. "Hadley, explain." Mom added. "Now." I stayed calm. Started with a motel in Billings. Flipped it in 18 months. Reinvested. "Built from there," Juniper muttered. "Impossible." Aunt Rosemary beamed. "Impossible is her specialty." Rhett paced. "Even if true, we vote as family." Dad shook his head. "Family trust says majority owner decides." Mom realized. "You hold majority?" I nodded once. Juniper shrieked. How? Aunt Rosemary answered. "By working, not posing for cameras." Rhett stopped pacing. "This is theft." Dad slammed a fist. "Watch your mouth." Mom begged. "Hadley, think about us." I met her eyes. "I have. For years." Juniper tried again. "You owe us." Aunt Rosemary scoffed. "She owes you nothing. You owe her gratitude." Rhett grabbed his phone. "I'll call the buyer." "End this," Dad warned. "Don't." Mom pleaded. "Rhett, stop. I watched him dial. Go ahead. Ask for me. He froze. Aunt Rosemary whispered. Told you. Dad sank back. It's over. Mom covered her face. Juniper whimpered. What now? Rhett's hand shook. You plan this? I shrugged. Business. Aunt Rosemary patted my arm. Proud of you, kid. The tension peaked. Juniper reached for the dessert knife to steady herself. Her fingers slipped. The blade hit the plate. The knife clattered onto the china, the sharp ring echoing like a gunshot. I reached into my purse and pulled out the dark blue folder. Everyone leaned in as I slid it across the linen tablecloth toward Dad. He flipped it open. The first page stared back. Purchase agreement, $155 million, full market value, no contingencies. Dad's fingers paused. This is real. I nodded. Signed yesterday. Closing in 30 days. Rhett snatched the folder next. Let me see. He turned to the appendix. Page after page listed properties. 11 hotels total, all under Vertex Hospitality. Acquisition dates, purchase prices, renovation costs, current valuations. Juniper grabbed it from Rhett. Her eyes scanned the list. A rundown inn in Missoula, a boutique spot in Bozeman, a chain of motels along I-90, each one flipped, expanded, profitable. Her face went white. You own all these? Victor Herrera. The general manager who had joined us midway through dinner cleared his throat from the corner seat. I can confirm. Weekly calls with Hadley for the last 6 months. Site visits, budget reviews, staffing plans. Rhett flipped back. 6 months. While we thought you were... What, playing investor? Victor continued. She toured every department, knew occupancy down to the decimal, pushed for the loyalty program that boosted revenue 12%. Mom took the folder gently. Hadley, these numbers? Dad traced a line. The valuation report? Independent appraiser. I explained. Hired them myself. No family discount. Juniper kept staring at the pages. This one in Helena. You bought it 2 years ago. Cash deal, I said. Closed in 48 hours. Rhett pointed. And this resort in Big Sky. That's worth $30 million alone. Paid 22. Renovated for 8. Now books 90% year-round. Victor added. Her occupancy strategy. Dynamic pricing, partnerships with airlines. Aunt Rosemary smiled. Told you she pays attention. Dad closed the folder slowly. The offer letter. It's from Vertex. Your company. Exactly. Mom whispered. How did we miss this? Rhett demanded. Bank statements. Where's the money from? I pulled a slim envelope from the folder. Here. Wire confirmations. All 11 sales funded the next purchase. Compounding. Juniper finally looked up, cheeks flushed. You used our hotel as collateral. No need, I replied. Vertex has its own line of credit. Clean balance sheet. Victor nodded. Audited quarterly. Lenders love her track record. Dad reopened to the signature page. Your name? Hadley Cole, CEO. Rhett muttered. CEO, not assistant. Mom touched the ink. It's your handwriting. Electronic signature, Victor clarified. But yes, authorized by her. Aunt Rosemary leaned over. See the growth chart, revenue tripled in 3 years. Juniper flipped to it. Bar graphs climbed sharp. This projection for Cole Grand. Post-acquisition, I said. Rebrand, upgrade suites, target corporate retreats. EBITDA doubles in 18 months. Dad's voice cracked. You planned every detail, Victor confirmed. Spreadsheets at 2 a.m., calls from airport lounges. Rhett slammed the table. We built this place. Mom hushed him. Rhett. Juniper kept reading. Staff retention plan. You're keeping everyone, raises across the board, I answered. Merit-based. Victor smiled. Already budgeted. Dad studied the org chart. GM reports to you. Directly, Aunt Rosemary pointed. Look at the exit clause. You can walk if terms change. Standard protection. Mom asked. Taxes, inheritance, trust handles it. Clean transfer. Rhett grabbed again. Fine print. There's always a catch. No catch, Victor said. Ironclad. Juniper's hands shook. You outbid everyone. Best offer I stated. Fair market. Dad closed his eyes. Board approval already secured. Proxy votes, Mom realized. You own the proxies. Through Vertex entities, Victor added. Legal team reviewed. No conflicts, Aunt Rosemary whispered. Brilliant. Rhett paced behind chairs. This can't stand. Dad warned. Sit, Mom pleaded. Hadley, reconsider. I stayed firm. Terms are set. Juniper begged. Family meeting. Vote again. Too late. Victor pulled his phone. Escrow opened this morning. Dad stared at the cover. Vertex Hospitality. Your logo. Designed it myself. Mom traced the letters. V for victory. Rhett stopped. You win. Juniper dropped the folder. Pages scattered. Aunt Rosemary gathered them. Careful. That's her empire. Dad held the main contract. $155 million. Wire ready, Victor confirmed. Upon signatures, Mom looked at me. You're sure positive? Rhett collapsed into his seat. Done. Juniper covered her mouth. Aunt Rosemary handed the folder back. Sign where indicated. Dad picked up the pen. His hand hovered. Norman whispered, You bought us out. I was 8 the first time Dad let me greet guests at the front desk. I stood on a stool badge, pinned crooked, handing out key cards with a grin. Guests ruffled my hair. Dad said I had the touch. By 10, I trailed housekeeping, learning how to fold fitted sheets tight. Mom praised my corners. Rhett mocked the uniform. Juniper ignored me. At 12, I asked to see the books. Dad laughed. Office is for grown-ups. He shut the door. I pressed my ear against it anyway, hearing numbers fly. High school hit. I bussed tables after classes. Tips went into a jar labeled future. Rhett spent his on gadgets, Juniper on outfits. College came. Scholarship to State University business major. Nights in the library devouring real estate texts. Online courses on cap rates, NOI debt service. Dad called once. Come home summers. Learn the ropes. I did. Cleaned pools at dawn. He never noticed the spreadsheets on my laptop. Graduated at 22. Entry job at a local brokerage. Analyzed comps for strip malls. Saved every commission. First deal at 23. A failing motel off the highway. 20 rooms, leaky roof. Owner desperate. I offered cash below ask. He took it. Closed in a coffee shop. Signed papers on a napkin dispenser. Drove straight to the property. Slept on the floor that night planning renovations. Hired contractors cheap. Painted myself. Upgraded Wi-Fi new mattresses. Booked groups from nearby factories. 6 months later, occupancy hit 80%. Sold to a chain for double. Profit seeded the next. Second property, bed and breakfast in a small town. Charming but outdated. Negotiated hard. Added a cafe. Tourists flooded in. Reinvested. Third roadside inn chain, 3 locations. Standardized branding. Cut costs on linen bulk buys. Buy 26.5 properties. Quit the brokerage. Full-time flipping. Lived in 1-unit office in another. No one knew. Family updates still in finance. Dad nodded approval for Rhett's videos. Mom sent Juniper care packages, 27. Incorporated Vertex Hospitality, LLC in Delaware. Hired a virtual assistant. Built a website. 6th deal, boutique hotel downtown. Competitive bid. Won with all cash offer. Renovated lobby, added rooftop bar. Revenue reports came weekly. I studied them at midnight. Adjusted rates daily. Partnered with travel sites. 7th resort near the lake. Seasonal dips. Introduced winter packages, ice fishing tie-ins. Year-round cash flow. 8th urban extended stay. Corporate clients. Long leases. Stable income. 9th historic inn. Preservation grants. Tax credits. Boosted value. 10th conference center attached to a motel. Event bookings soared. 11th mid-size chain in the suburbs. Merged operations. Synergies cut overhead 15%. Worked 100 hours most weeks. Emails at 3 a.m. Site inspections weekends. Spreadsheets color-coded. 8 standing up. Slept 4 hours. Gym hotel treadmills between checkouts. Family gatherings, excuses. Busy quarter. They bought it. Rhett posted from exotic spots. Juniper planned galas. I tracked Cole Grand from afar. Reviewed public filings. Knew occupancy trends debt load. Contacted Victor quietly. Hypothetical valuation. He sent data. Weekly calls followed. Discreet. Built the war chest. Refinanced portfolio. Lenders lined up. Track record spoke. No loans from family. No hints. No boasts. At 30, Vertex valued over $200 million. Staff of 50 remote. Systems automated, still flew coach. Drove a used sedan. Saved every dime for the big one. Cole Grand, the origin, Dad's pride. I studied it like the others. Projected post-buy upgrades, loyalty integration, cross-marketing, offer crafted. Fair but firm. Sent through layers, they bit. Back to 8 years old. That stool. Those keys. Dad never saw the fire. Thought I'd manage front desk forever. Rhett assumed I'd fade. Juniper planned events on my future grave. Mom hoped I'd marry well. Settle. Aunt Rosemary sent cards. Keep grinding. I did. No inheritance begged. No favoritism sought. Built brick by brick. Deal by deal. 100 hours became routine. Coffee cold. Eyes burning. Worth it. Now the folder closed. Eyes on me. I looked straight at Dad. I didn't want to inherit. I wanted to buy. Norman stood slowly from the head of the table. His chair scraped back the sound cutting through the heavy air. He placed both palms flat on the wood, leaning forward. You get nothing. His words landed flat final. No yell, no drama, just declaration. Mom froze mid-breath. Her fork hovered over dessert untouched. Rhett's fist came down hard. The table jumped. Glasses rattled. That's bull. She can't just take everything. Juniper burst into tears. Sobs shook her shoulders. Mascara ran in black streaks. We grew up here. This is ours. Aunt Rosemary reached across and squeezed my hand. I always knew Hadley. From the first time you counted tips at 10. Dad ignored her. The trust is clear. Active management decides. You never managed a day. Rhett kicked his chair. It toppled. Active. She vanished for years. Mom tried. Norman, please. She's your daughter. Dad's eyes stayed on me. Daughters don't ambush fathers. Juniper wailed louder. I planned my wedding here. The ballroom deposit. Aunt Rosemary kept her voice steady. Plans change, dear. Hadley earned the right. Rhett rounded on her. Earned by sneaking around. I sat still. Sneaking public records. All legal. Dad straightened. Legal doesn't make it right. Mom dabbed her eyes. Think of the staff. The history. Rhett paced. History. She'll gut it. Corporate chain. Juniper hiccuped. My contacts. My network. Aunt Rosemary smiled softly. Your network will adapt. Hadley's will expand it. Dad pointed. No payout, no shares. Nothing. Rhett roared. We sue, Mom gasped. Rhett. Juniper clung to Mom. Do something. Aunt Rosemary shook her head. Lawsuits cost more than you have. I watched Dad. The offer stands. Fair value. He scoffed. Your value. Rhett grabbed a water glass, hurled it against the wall. Shards exploded. Over my dead body, Mom shrieked. Stop. Juniper slid to the floor, knees buckling. It's gone. Everything. Aunt Rosemary stood beside me. Get up, Juniper. Dignity. Dad's voice dropped. You walk away with the hotel. We walk with memories. Rhett lunged forward. Memories don't pay bills. Mom pulled him back. Enough. Juniper sobbed into her napkin. I hate you, Aunt Rosemary whispered. Hate fuels nothing. Action does. I pushed my chair back. Stood. Dad met my gaze. Sit. We're not done. Rhett snarled. Yeah, sit. Mom begged. Hadley. Juniper looked up, eyes swollen. Please. Aunt Rosemary nodded once. Say your piece. I scanned the table. Broken glass. Spilled wine. Tears. This ends tonight, Dad demanded. Meaning, Rhett mocked. Meaning what, boss lady? Mom reached out. Don't. Juniper whimpered. Stay. Aunt Rosemary encouraged. Finish it. I stepped away from the table. Last Cole family dinner. 1 year later, Rhett called from a roadside motel in Bozeman. The line crackled with highway noise behind him. Hadley, it's me. Pick up. I let it ring twice before answering. What? He rushed words. I'm broke. Completely. The jet repo men took it last week. I leaned against my office window, city lights below. And creditors everywhere. Cards maxed. Can't even pay the motel. Silence stretched. He lowered his voice. Need a loan. Just to get back on feet. I watched traffic crawl. How much? 200 grand. Startup capital. New content series. I almost laughed. Content. Yeah. Travel vlogs. Luxury again. Sponsors will bite. I turned from the window. You burned sponsors last time? That was bad advice. This time clean. I sat at my desk. Define clean. No parties. No extras. Straight business. I opened a drawer, pulled a file. Your last tax return. Negative equity. He stammered. Old news. I can flip it. I closed the file. Flip what? No assets. The name. Cole brand still means something. I leaned back. Not to me. He pleaded. Family Hadley. Blood. I tapped the desk. Blood didn't pay bills. He breathed heavy. Juniper's worse. Lost the big wedding contract. Venue pulled out. I waited. Her company folded. Debts piling. Eviction notice next month. I checked my watch. And we're desperate. One chance. Invest in us. I stood. Invest. Yeah. Partnership. Events at Vertex Properties. I walked to the door. Properties I own. Exactly. Win-win. I paused. You mean I fund you spend? No. Equity split. I opened the door. Equity in what? Air. He begged. Please. Mom's worried sick. I stepped into the hall. Mom has her pension. Dad's health declining. Stress. I entered the elevator. Stress from choices. He whispered. We'll work. Whatever jobs. I pressed lobby. Jobs. Front desk. Marketing. Anything. Doors closed. You mocked front desk. That was then. Elevator descended. Then is now. He cried. Hadley. I arrived ground floor. No. He sobbed. Sister. I walked through lobby. Not anymore. He yelled. You owe us. I exited to the street. I paid fare. He switched tactics. Small amount. Seed. I hailed a cab. Seed for what? Rebuild. Cab stopped. Rebuild alone. He broke in. Don't hang up. I slid in. Goodbye. He screamed. Wait. Driver asked destination. I gave it. Phone still on. Hadley, I ended the call. Don't call again. I auctioned off the old Cole family suite on the top floor. Bidders came from 3 states. The penthouse Dad's pride sold for $2.8 million to a tech couple from Seattle. Victor met me in the lobby the next morning. Rebrand approved. Vertex Grand goes live next quarter. I handed him the new org chart. COO effective today. Full authority on ops. He scanned it. Staff meetings start Monday. Loyalty program rollout. I nodded. Cross-property bookings up 20% projected. Victor folded the chart. Signage crews arrive tomorrow. I glanced at the old plaque. Remove every Cole reference. He confirmed. Already ordered. Weeks passed. No calls from Mom. No texts from Dad. Rhett's socials went dark. Juniper's event page deleted. I blocked their numbers. Deleted group chats. Changed my personal email. Board meetings filled my calendar. Expansion plans for 2 new acquisitions. Revenue targets smashed. Victor reported daily. Occupancy 92. Reviews 5-star. I approved budgets. Spa upgrade greenlit. Staff morale soared. Bonuses announced. Vertex Grand topped local awards. One envelope arrived. Handwritten. Aunt Rosemary's script. Opened it in my new office. Card read, "Proud doesn't cover it. Keep soaring." I set it on the desk. No reply sent. Months later, Dad's obituary hit the local paper. Heart failure, service private. I read it online, closed the tab. Victor knocked. Funeral. I shook my head. Schedule holds. He left. Rhett tried LinkedIn. Message blocked. Juniper emailed through corporate. Spam folder. Mom sent a letter. Returned unopened. Vertex Grand hosted its first gala. Celebrities, influencers. No family invited. Victor toasted. To new beginnings. I raised my glass. Silent. Portfolio grew. 20 properties. Billion-dollar valuation whispered. Aunt Rosemary's second card came. Thinking of you. Placed beside the first. Still no response. Victor expanded teams. Hired top talent. Cole-era staff retrained or retired. I walked the halls. New art. Modern fixtures. No traces left. Annual report printed. Vertex Grand cover star. Board applauded. Empire built. I smiled. Brief. Night fell. Elevator to rooftop. City sprawled below. Lights twinkled. Wind whipped. I stood at the edge. Legacy isn't blood. It's what you build. Alone. 5 years flew. Vertex Hospitality hit 20 properties. Flagship in New York. Boutique in Miami. Resort in Aspen. Each one profitable branded uniform. Victor ran daily ops from headquarters. Q3 earnings call tomorrow. Analysts expect beat. I reviewed slides. Margins up 8%. Loyalty members tripled. He nodded. Acquisition pipeline strong. 2 more closings next month. Boardroom filled with executives. No family photos. No old plaques. Press releases announced milestones. Forbes feature From Motel Flip to Hotel Empire. I declined interviews, focused on numbers. Dad's funeral came and went. Invitation arrived certified mail. I signed receipt tossed envelope. Victor asked once. Travel plans, I replied. Denver site visit. He dropped it. Rhett surfaced on a podcast. Lost everything. Lesson learned. No mention of me. Juniper started a small catering gig. Instagram bio starting over. Mom sold the house. Moved to assisted living. No forwarding address shared. Aunt Rosemary's annual card stopped after year 3. Vertex stock prepared for IPO. Valuation north of $3 billion. Underwriters pitched roadshows. London, Hong Kong, Dubai. I approved. Proceeds fund European expansion. Victor mapped it. Paris first. Then Barcelona. Properties modernized. AI check-in. Sustainable certifications. Guest scores 95. Staff turnover low. Culture surveys top quartile. I walked unannounced inspections. Incognito. Noted details. Sent feedback. One property in Vegas broke records. Convention bookings flooded. Victor celebrated. Your dynamic pricing model. I credited team. Execution matters. Charity arm launched. Scholarships for hospitality students. No name attached. Tax strategy optimized. Trusts structured. Wealth preserved. Mentors emerged. Young entrepreneurs sought advice. I hosted quarterly dinners. No personal life leaked. Privacy ironclad. Portfolio diversified. Glamping sites. Wellness retreats. Revenue streams layered. Subscription stays. Co-working lounges. Victor proposed partnership. Private jet share, I declined. Commercial fine. He laughed. Old habits. Annual retreat in Hawaii. Team building. No plus ones. I spoke last. Growth isn't luck. It's systems. Applause echoed. Back home, skyline changed. Vertex Tower rose downtown. Top floor my residence. Minimalist. City view. One drawer held 2 items. Aunt Rosemary's first card. Dad's old key card from childhood. I opened it rarely. Market crash tested. Portfolio dipped 5%. Recovered in quarter. Analysts praised resilience. Disciplined capital allocation. I read reports at dawn. Adjusted forecasts. Victor retired partially. Successor groomed. I stayed CEO. Hands-on. 20 properties became 25, then 30. Brand synonymous with excellence. Awards stacked. No regrets surfaced. No second thoughts. Family became footnote. Success the story. Success doesn't need family favoritism.